What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And man, it's been a long time since I can say this. The Browns are above 500. 84 games. It's been a long time. It's been a long wait. If you're a Browns fan, you already know it's been a very, very long time coming. Today, obviously doing this a little bit different. Usually I do these pre-recorded, but today I have a friend, Bouchard from Red Cape Sports. What's up, Bird? How's it going? Did I lose you? You there? Oh, no, I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I just had a bit of connection issues. I'm here, man.
All right. Yeah, cool. So, yeah, like I was saying, it's been 84 games. Obviously, Washington football team played the Cleveland Browns today. They're both fighting. I mean, at the beginning of the game, it was looking like same old for the Browns. But obviously, as the game progressed, Dwayne Haskins throughout that game did not look good. Ended up with 4 total turnovers, 3 interceptions, and a fumble. The reason that Bird is on the show today is because he is a Washington football team fan, and obviously I'm a Browns fan, so we wanted to get him on, talk his side of the coin. I mean, what did you see today from Dwayne Haskins?
That's just it, right? I mean, at the end of the day, when you're trying to win football games, you can't turn over the ball 4 times.
Yeah.
More specifically, on each and every single one of the turnovers, even if you want to include the fumble, his eyes were locked downfield on one specific receiver, and that's just college level amateurism. You just can't have that. And like going into it, you have to know like the offensive line is only going to give you so much protection. And I don't know, it was almost like when you play Madden and it's like, no matter what, I'm throwing to B. And that's just how it went. And I mean, at the end of the day, I believe you guys end up scoring 24 points off those 4 turnovers. So, I mean, that's the game right there.
Yeah, it was rough. I mean, he did throw for 2 TDs, but again, those 4 turnovers, 3 of which were picks. And the Browns hadn't had an interception all season until this game. So it's good if you're a Browns fan to see that they're finally making some turnovers, or rather getting some turnovers. On the flip side, though, Baker Mayfield, I mean, in my opinion, I know a lot of people do not like Baker. I know a lot of people think he's faker Mayfield. But personally, he looked good. Obviously, this offense is going to be led by its running game. Nick Chubb, 19 carries, 108 yards, 2 TDs, averaging almost 6 yards per rush. Kareem Hunt, 16 carries for 46, so not quite as good. But when you had all those turnovers, you were getting short yardage scenarios. I don't think you need both backs. That's the awesome thing about having such great quality running backs, is if one's a little bit off, you can afford to kind of feed the other one. And that kind of, I mean, for my money, and I know this might be a little controversial, but Nick Chubb is the best running back in the NFL. And he gets dogged on because he's on the Browns. If he was on a winning team, it would be no question. So light me up in the comment section, everybody, all you Steelers fans. But I actually posted a question on my Twitter at @LesAlex. If you guys are on Twitter, if you're watching along, the question of the show is, who was the quarterback for the Browns the last time they were above 500? It was 84 games ago. It was 2014 season. The options I have on there are Tyrod Taylor, Colt McCoy, Brian Hoyer, or Johnny Manziel. Go check that one out and vote. That'll be up for 24 hours. But yeah, man, so let's kind of go through this game. I like to just go through the game, kind of almost not quite play by play, but almost play by play. So first quarter, first play of the game, nice down yard downfield pass from Baker to Hooper. That looked good. I'm at that point, I'm like, okay, Baker's looking good. Then nice 12-yard reception to Landry. Then there was a false start. But one thing I noticed early, Browns got the play action going. Obviously, Baker excels when the play action is going. And then there was an incomplete pass that went in and out of Kareem Hunt's hands. Personally, I think that needed to be caught. It's inexcusable. What's up, Steve? Started, yeah, buddy. Yeah, Nick Chubb and the Browns defense. Nice. But that drive led to a punt. And then do you have these pulled up on your screen? Do you have my notes pulled up on your screen?
Let's see that.
If not, it's no worries. I was just going to say you could run through the Washington drives and I could run through the Cleveland drives. But then
dismal.
Washington.
I mean, to put it lightly.
What's that?
No, I was just going to say, I mean, Washington didn't do too much at all.
Yeah.
So not missing too much.
The punt was good. Washington started deep in their own zone. McKissick, though, looked good. I thought McKissick looked real good. He had some key plays there early, and obviously as they kind of needed to come back, the run game was just non-existent. But there was a bad penalty on by Denzel Ward. It was just stupid. He hit the guy out of bounds. And then, of course, Washington ended up punting. And then back to the Browns side of things, they had it at their own 19-yard line. There was a false start. And then there was a big play action. Baker had great time in the pocket, found OBJ. Big sat led to a punt. I texted you. We were kind of texting back and forth. I said, the punters are going to be MVPs of this game, and it certainly felt that way. But yeah, on the next, that led to a punt, and then on the next drive for Washington, TD pass, and then that was the first score in the first quarter. At the end of the first, though, Nick Chubb and Baker had the short game going. Landry to end out the first. So after the first quarter, how are you feeling about the Washington football team's chances? You had the lead going into the second. Maybe some connection issues. You with us?
Internet's kind of acting up here.
No.
Internet's kind of acting up here. So
I was just saying, what were your thoughts after the first?
Now, I mean, I was streaming the entire game, right? So I'm going to figure this out. I do apologize. Definitely do.
No worries. Some technical issues.
But
heading into
I pay good enough money for internet, and of course, this is what happens at the worst time possible, right?
It happens to the best of us. Then second quarter happens. Nick Chubb, 5-yard run, then followed by a 10-yard run. Play action pass to OBJ, but OBJ was able to bat it out of the defender's hand. That was really key, I think. That could have been a huge turning point in the game. Baker overthrows Hooper on third down. And then they go for it on fourth and get a new set of downs. Parkey hits a field goal. A nice long drive for the Browns. Ate up a lot of time on the clock. It was nice to see that little drive, or that rather long drive by the Browns. You back with us?
Yeah, man, I think I'm back with us. I got everything pulled up, so I'm here.
Yeah, I was just asking about what your thoughts were going into the second quarter. for Washington.
Okay. Well, for Washington, I mean, the first quarter was kind of the setup of, I guess that's when we truly saw what type of game plan that they wanted to run. And I just got some notes here. You can see there that they had a pretty good mixture of running and passing plays, which I'm definitely a fan of. Normally, they kind of lean on the run a bit too heavily, and don't really let Haskins throw the ball. And like I said, I mean, it was almost too predictable. But when Haskins was struggling, you could see he kind of found that Ohio State connection to Terry McLaurin a few times. And that certainly kept moving the chains. I also do want to highlight there as well in the first quarter. Interesting enough, again, another Ohio State player, Denzel Ward, almost had that key interception. So, I mean, realistically, Haskins almost threw for 4, which was just, not a good game. And I mean, that ball, it looked like he kind of just threw up, hoping that someone would come up with it and someone on the Washington football team. So that was awful. So that's kind of my thoughts on how they did in the first quarter. 71 passing yards, 31 rushing yards, not bad. And I mean, as a Washington football fan, you're kind of going into the second going, hey, you know what? We're still well within reach. And then it kind of came down. It was just, the second quarter was not great.
Yeah. The second quarter is kind of where, in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe the Browns got this thing. As you know, Parkey, the Browns had a big drive that went from the end of the first quarter into, I don't know, I guess about halfway through the second quarter. I mean, it was a long drive. It ended in a field goal, but I was happy to see that, Baker found some cadence. Him and OBJ were starting to connect. Obviously, Nick Chubb was getting things going. So it was good. And Hooper getting things going with Baker as well. That was nice to see. Parkey hit that field goal. And then on the following drive, that was the interception by Joseph. And then he fumbled it. He had a great return and then fumbled it. I was like, oh no, like, of course this is going to happen. But the Browns fall on it. So, and then they had a really short field. There was a nice first down pass from Baker to OBJ, and then Nick Chubb ran it in and, did the heavy lifting like he does. So at that point, we're a little bit over halfway through the second quarter. The Browns up 10-7. The next two drives for Washington and the Browns, respectively, both end in punts. And then for Washington's next drive towards the end of the half, picked off by Malcolm Smith, and the Browns had the ball basically in the red zone. Chubb follows that up with a 10-yard run and then another 9-yard TD pass from Baker to Kareem Hunt, giving them the 7-17 lead. And then there was another turnover right at the end as time expired. So Browns lead 7-17 going into the half. At this point, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm texting my Browns fan friends like, yo, I think we got this one. I'm texting you, we're talking smack back and forth a little bit. So yeah, at halftime, I'm feeling good. It seemed to me that, like you said, man, Haskins just didn't look comfortable.
No, not at all.
Myles Garrett and Sheldon Richardson were getting in tight. They didn't have many sacks up to that point, but they were collapsing the pocket quite well, and really putting pressure on Haskins. And Haskins just looked like you said, to your point, he was just locked in on one receiver, it seemed, and because of that, the Browns defense were able to get some key turnovers. So halftime happens, you go get your snacks, get your beer, whatever, come back. Sheldon Richardson gets a huge sack on the Washington football team's first possession. They have to punt it away. The following drive there were so many punts in this game. The Browns punted away on their first possession of the second half. Then Washington actually challenged a catch lost the challenge, and then the very next play go on to score a touchdown. Maybe not the very next play, but that drive. Hopkins missed the PAT, though, so that was points given up. It's just like sloppy play, man. What's that?
No, like exactly. And I mean, obviously in the final score, that doesn't show too much. Like it doesn't really reflect too much. But even missing that point after touchdown there for the single point, like now you look at it, and that's a 4-point game rather than a 3-point game to make it short field and a field goal. Like they just took so many penalties and so many turnovers, and I don't want to say that they beat themselves, because obviously Baker played really well and so did Nick Chubb, and even your defense. But it's like, I don't know. It's like, give us 4 more possessions and, you know, potentially you can make it into a game. So they just beat themselves, man. It's just not fun to watch as a fan.
Yeah. I mean, that's as a Browns fan, I definitely understand. You know, that's one thing that in the past, the Browns, because of how many changes over the last several years this team has gone through, with whether it be coaching changes, GM changes, quarterback changes, it's really rough whenever you get these dumb penalties. And I feel like that kind of fed into this. And then, you know, you're deep into the second half of this game and you're like, well, now you're just making misplays and getting dumb penalties later on in the stretch. I'm sure as a player, that's got to eat into your psyche and really, you know, question whether you can get the job done. But honestly, their blitz and them rushing Baker today looked good. You know, Montez Sweat got maybe even 2 sacks, 1 or 2 sacks. And let's not forget that the Browns' offensive line is pretty damn stacked. If you watch this game, you know that Baker had plenty of time to throw just daggers down the field basically all game. But I was impressed by Washington's ability to penetrate and really put the pressure on Baker. And
let's not forget here, Alex, too, right? Because I do feel this is rather important. Chase Young entering the second quarter left the game. And I know he's just a rookie, but at one point he was actually leading the NFL in sacks at one point. Even if he doesn't necessarily get to the quarterback, I think he creates such a, you know, and I mean, again, as a Buckeye fan, I was always, oh, well, Chase Young never stepped up in big games. But the reality was, even if he never got to the quarterback, he was creating such confusion at the offensive line and allowing other teammates to get to the quarterback. And, you know, at the start of the game, Baker did look a bit flustered, and then Chase Young went out with that injury. I actually have no idea what the injury was, but
I don't know.
That to me changed a bit of, you know, it changed a bit of the game for sure.
Yeah, they said it was a groin injury, but I mean, hopefully he's not severely injured. Hopefully it was just something that they needed to work out after the game. He was walking around high-fiving the teammate, you know, the Washington sidelines. So hopefully nothing too crazy. You know, I'm a Browns fan, but I mean, if you hope players get injured and stay injured, you know, you're a scumbag, but would never wish that on anybody.
Amen.
But heading towards you know, the middle of the third, you had a nice drive by Washington. They had that really nice reverse, get the chains moving. There was a 13-yard run by Gibson there, peppered in. They went for it on 4th and 3, a huge conversion there. Then Haskins fumbles it while giving it to the runner, but they recover. They tried a corner shot. Haskins overthrew the receiver. And then on 3rd and goal, TD pass from Haskins to Inman, making it, you know, 2017. So now Washington is up. So at this point, I'm like, oh, great. Well, classic Browns. The world is falling. Woe is me. But yeah, man. So as we get towards the 4th here, you know, the fullback Jankovic rumbles and bumbles for a first. Then we had Chubb on a 6-yard run. Then a huge run, about a 25-yard run up the sideline for Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt getting his 8-yard run. And then from there was a nice 9-yard run by Hunt, first and goal. And then a TD pass from Baker to Harrison Bryant, the other tight end. And, Hooper gets all the acclaim and all the hype. But, I mean, Harrison Bryant's a pretty darn good receiving tight end. So that was nice to see. But yeah, 2024, and from there the Browns never looked back. BJ Goodson had that amazing pick. I mean, that was a good pick, and apparently, as I was listening to the game, the play-by-play guys were talking about how he'd been working on that very same play. Apparently, somebody called him out. Fans were mad about his pass protection. Talking about Goodson, and he worked on it throughout the week, and it definitely showed because he had that interception, and then later in the game, he had a batted ball where he broke up a pass. So good stuff for Goodson. Only a 2-play drive that ended in a touchdown. There was a nice play action strike from Baker to OBJ. TD run by Nick Chubb for about 23 yards. I mean, at that point, I was like, oh, this game is over. Like, I think I even messaged you. I was like, all right, this one's in the books.
You did.
But what were you thinking at that point? Nick Chubb just scores, putting them up by 11. What's your thought process right there?
It's just such a rough game.
Yeah, it was definitely not pretty for Washington. And then Myles Garrett did the trifecta, the holy trinity on defense. He had the sack, the strip, and the recovery all on the same play. Beauty of a play, too, if you watch that one. He I don't know what was going on, but as Haskins was falling to the ground, he hit the ball up and caught it and held on.
Yep.
So, and it's funny because Myles Garrett throughout the week, I guess on Twitter, said something that he wanted to get a sack strip recovery. So, and then from there,
player, man.
Yeah, oh my God. Say what you want about Myles Garrett. And I know a lot of people do not like Myles Garrett for what he did, last season, but it's a new season. They paid the man. He's earning his keep. And for my money, he's one of the best in the biz. He's one of the best in the biz. And it's awesome to get to see him work every Sunday. So, but then, Browns get the ball back, obviously short yards. They just hand it off to Hunt and Chubb. Parkey knocks in pretty much a gimme. Although, for Parkey, those aren't always true. But and then 34-20 is the final. I don't know. I'm very pleased. I think the offense was looking great. We were able to get the run going for the Browns. Nick Chubb, another 100-yard performance. The first time since Jim Brown did it way back in the 67 or something, I think they said, where a Browns player had 100 rushing yards and 2 TDs in back-to-back games. So that's awesome to see from Nick Chubb. And Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham was the leading receiver today. So that's good. Get some consistency with Baker and Odell. Hopefully able to put all that, nonsense where, they're not friends or they can't get along, put that to bed. But moving forward, what are your thoughts for Washington? What do they got to do to win next week? You with me?
Oh, man. I mean, the easy thing is obviously take care of the football, right? I mean, we see it time and time and time again. When you don't take care of the football in the NFL. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, let's see. Bad internet. Don't get tech savvy, folks. Let's see. Can you hear me, Alex?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Like I was trying to say there, what they can't continue to happen is the turnovers. Time and time again, we see it. It's not just Washington football team. the turnovers are going to kill you.
Yeah.
You can't continue to give the other team opportunities to bury you. And I mean, even at the end of the football game, I believe it was an 11-point game, right? So not too far out of hand. And then 4th and 4 in a game that's basically already done, and Ryan Kerrigan jumps offside, automatic first down. So it's little things like that. Again, it's tough to say that they did beat themselves because Baker Mayfield played a great game. I mean, obviously, fantasy-wise, you might look at it and go, oh, just so-so, but he managed that team from the line of scrimmage, and he did a good job. I think what Washington did very well, though, at one point, specifically in the second quarter, they dumped the ball off a lot in the backfield to the to the running backs. That for them worked extremely well, and they kept moving the chains. But they need a secondary wide receiver option. Right now, Washington, other than Terry McLaurin, there's really not many options. And I mean, you saw it today. Like I said, Dwayne Haskins kind of had his eyes locked downfield on one specific receiver, and they really need someone else to step up. The defense didn't play too terrible. I mean, obviously, and I will say this, and maybe this is even a stat that you don't know as a Browns fan, but this is the first time since 2010 that the Browns have scored 30 points in back-to-back games.
I believe it. Yeah, man. It's been rough. I mean, just as a Browns fan in general, but yeah, over the last, 3 or 4 years, it's been extremely rough. But yeah, so next week, football team is playing the Ravens and the Browns are playing the Cowboys. Those games will be interesting. Obviously, Browns need Washington to win that game and obviously beat the Cowboys to remain above 500. That would be nice. What's up, Browns talk? Our defense going to get shredded. Yeah. But we'll see. I have high hopes. I'm very optimistic about this season. I think our offensive weapons are no joke. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. And it always seems like the Cowboys, they're either on or they're off. So we'll see how they want to end up performing. But yeah, everybody, I appreciate y'all for hanging out. I wanted to do this video live with Bird. So I thank you all for hanging out. Make sure to like this one if you got here and you're watching after the fact. Hit that subscribe button if you did enjoy. I appreciate you all. Until next week, we got the Cowboys. We got the Cowboys next week. Hopefully we can get another W. Stay above 500. Keep things rolling. Fingers crossed for a playoff berth maybe. But I appreciate you all. And until the next one, here we go, Brownies. Here we go. See y'all.